Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting edition of Transformers Reviews. Well, today, guys, as you know, we are taking a look at none other than the nerd of the Autobots, Perceptor. But he's like a cool nerd. And one of the reasons why is the dude turns into a tank. Now, ever since the days of his Generation 1 toy, they had always baked in that tank mode in addition to his microscope mode. And if you guys have been around the channel for a while, you know that we looked at his Titan's Return tank form, which, you know what, I think it kind of pulls off the concept a little bit better because he could actually have his Titan Master sort of piloting the tank mode, whereas this is just a tank with no driver. However, I'm just glad that he has it because I do like that idea. That is really kind of cool. However, because Perceptor is a Studio Series figure, let's go ahead and stack him up against another one of his fellows, that being Cup. Now again, Cup and Perceptor, despite having Earth-ish modes, they are an alien tank and an alien truck. But if you want to see how they look against a true Earth vehicle, there they are with Goldbug, getting some Season 3 vibes. I'm down with that too, because again, this is a vehicle mode of Perceptors, so I think it works. However, we know what mode we're really wanting to see him in, which is not this mode. This is everybody's second favorite for Perceptor. But the one thing that I do have to go ahead and bring out is I like how much bigger the Studio Series is in comparison to the Titans version. This dude is representing basically that one episode of the cartoon. This guy is representing the movie, and every other time he's not plated in gold, essentially. I do like the fact that this one had the 5mm peg ports on his lower arms, whereas our new boy does not have that. Plus, this thing could actually have the end zoom in. You can see that this whole thing was actually functioning, which I thought that was kind of cool. However, there are going to be certain trade-offs of what make this better than this guy and vice versa. And with that being said, guys, that's why I wanted to show you how he stacked up against his previous self in microscope mode. But how does he stack up against more modern figures that in the fiction also shrink down? And if you were going to have a shelf that was basically the robots that do shrink down to normal everyday sized items, yeah, I think that these guys are kind of an interesting assortment, but it doesn't look weird. I don't know, I kind of like it myself. But that's how he stacks up against Reflector and Old Blaster here. So guys, why don't you say, let's move on to his best looking mode. And finally, we are here, and the boys both are looking resplendent. Of course, I think, as you've probably picked up on, the Studio Series 1 is my new favorite, because with it being inspired by his actual model that they used for the movie, I just feel the proportions are a little bit more correct. It's not trying to shoehorn in that Titan gimmick. I have never really been a fan of him with a giant sniper rifle. I know that's IDW comics, as you probably have gathered. I've always been a fan of the animation stuff, so I think that this boy just comes out on top. Because as you can see here, when you put him in a diorama, he fills out the ranks very nicely. And I am just happy that the tweaks that they made to him are just really awesome. But as much as I like this diorama, I think there's some other bots that he needs to stand beside. Oh yeah, I think you guys knew we were heading here, especially considering that he looks so sick with these other movie figures. It's just really kind of cool now to finally see all these characters together. This is the first time I'm seeing them together like this. Oh man, it's just really kind of cool to have it in a physical form, and as you probably have told from my voice, I mean, it's just, man, I like it so much. But before we go, guys, did you happen to know that out of these four, only one of them gets prominent screen time? You know, after the Battle of Autobot City, Blaster stays on Earth to help rebuild, and then these two get eaten by Unicron, which only leaves Perceptor. And I'm like, out of all the guys that was in the Season 2 cartoon, why Perceptor out of all of them does he get the biggest amount of screen time? He, for a large chunk of the movie, is the only original character, if you consider the Season 2 cast. He's the only original character to stick around with all the new guys. But it was just kind of a weird thing that I happened to notice. And as we are wrapping things up, guys, if you have not had the chance to watch the Vector Prime video, I would ask you to go take a look at it. He is a character that is very emblematic of his era, and despite that, he's an original one of the 13, so he's pretty cool to have in the collection. But before I drone on, guys, that was our look at the Studio Series Perceptor, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, guys, we'll see you in another review.
Ultra Magnus, a cursory evaluation of Decepticon capability indicates a distinct tactical deficiency.